I have this memory of me coming back from school every day, walking through the long corridor. Very often I would hear voices coming from the living room, and it was my mother with her guests, with her friends, entertaining always in this kind of very happy way, constantly putting people at ease in such a way that when I started sort of growing older, she would ask me to bring my friends and we would all sit at the table, mixing generations. This, I think, brought me in a very natural way to creating not only a world of cabana where we publish beautiful, cozy, intimate interiors like probably this house felt, but also the world we created with Casa Cabana, with the tabletop, was never about the single plate, the single placemat. It was about the idea of gathering friends around the table, gathering your family, and building memories. I love entertaining at home. Nothing gives me more pleasure than setting a table, obviously, but welcoming friends and family and mixing people. I certainly love connecting, and I think this has translated into cabana in lots of different ways. Obviously, everything comes from having grown up in a very open house, a kind of a very welcoming place. I think that's the basic philosophy behind my brand, behind Casa Cabana. It's the idea of setting the table because you're preparing it with the thought of the people that will sit there, of the conversations you'll have. Being Italian plays a huge role in this creating a world of entertainment at home, and because home entertaining, a big table full of laughter is a very Italian feeling. Small things, it's the art of small things. The art of entertaining at home is really an art of small things. And the way I like to layer the table, the way we build the collections at Cabana is by layering. And this connects to the layered homes we publish in the magazine, because it's in the layering I feel that the soul of a person comes out. One of the founding figures of Cabana, as I've said many times, and I might be boring about it, but is Renzo Mongiardino, who played an influence when I started realizing consciously what an influence he had had on me and the way I see interiors. He would come here once a week for lunch, at least, because in a very funny and eccentric way, he didn't have a kitchen in his own house. I think his big secret was to move in these very important people's lives in a very subtle and silent way. Almost like a ballet that happens in front of you, but you don't even realize what's happening. And he would have this almost magic touch of being able of convincing his clients that what he wanted to do, what was they wanted for their own house. And I think that's a real art. He had a few things that were fundamental to every single project he did. The first one was symmetry. I'm sure if he could have named a maestro from the past, it would have been Palladio. And then light. It was theater light. If you think about it, how you see it on stage, it's what creates atmosphere. And that was crucial to him. And also a sense of mixing high and low. The fireplace is a perfect example of his idea of make-believe, because nothing is real. It's not real marble, it's painted glass, it's not real stones, it's painted wood to make it look like stones. But in that way, he could achieve any look he wanted, because it was all based on his imagination, his knowledge of history, and the incredible respect he had for artisans. Artisans are key to everything we do with Casa Cabana. There isn't a single object that goes on our website that doesn't have behind it hours of love, labor, hand work, That's the beauty of it for me. Craftsmanship and artisans means that each object will never be exactly the same as another, and in that lays its beauty. A lot has happened in the last 5 years in my life. Losing my mother was a huge moment of sadness because we had such a close relationship. But there's one thing that I will say, which someone I very much trust and that played a role in my life said to me after my mom died. And she said to me, you know, I believe, especially for a girl, you are born twice. Once when you're born and the second time when your mother dies. Because that's the moment you really grow up. You don't have any protection left. No one is there physically. Everything suddenly comes to you in ways that are imperceptible, in moments of your daily routine that you don't even realize, and you think you do things, you act, you talk, you behave, you react to things that happen in your life in a different way, with a different maturity. So I think that's where I am right now. And she lives on. I really like to say that Cabana is an ode to her. She lives in the way I set the table. She lives in the way that I look at things, in the things she taught me. In the last few years of her life, she would see me walking into this house. And every time she would be like, okay, what's coming next? What's your next inspiration that comes from this house? And she was right. The collection we're coming out with now, which is our 10th anniversary collection, so it's obviously a very important one. The simplicity of the pattern on the tablecloth mixed with plates the Ginori plates that have the colors and a bit of the motifs of her dining room. The use of very simple straw placemats but with a twist is lots of different inspirations and ingredients from all these years of Cabana, but most importantly from, my childhood with her. That's all an ode to her.